eastern leg of the Pro Farmer Crop Tour. Oliver Sloup joins us again from Blue Line Futures. Thank you, Oliver, for being with us. I know yesterday and today both, probably, I think you were in Indiana, though maybe you started only in Illinois this morning. Let's begin with what you found in Indiana and what your route looked like.
Yeah, we did a lot in Indiana yesterday. That was our primary focus. As I'd mentioned, we did a half route, so the other half focused on Ohio. We jumped straight over to Indiana. This morning, we did do a few counties in Indiana, and I think, largely speaking, I think the underlying theme from yesterday was just underwhelming, especially relative to such lofty expectations. Crossing over the state border into Illinois today, which is where we've done a bulk of our sampling, that things have turned a little bit more positive. And I think today's takeaway so far is probably consistency. We're seeing a lot less variability, a lot less issues with regards to weather problems in Indiana. It really looked like a lot of fields could have used quite a bit more moisture and probably still could use quite a bit more moisture to round out these crops. So far from what we've seen in Illinois, that hasn't been the case. It looks pretty darn good, and the yields are a lot more consistent on the counties that we're in. We're actually in McLean County right now, which I've been really looking forward to since before we even got on the road, because it's one of the country's top producing counties. And so far, I mean, we've only done 3 or 4 samples here, but we're in the mid 250s on those yield checks. So it'll be interesting to see what other people find in this county and other counties around us. But I would say it's probably living up to expectations in Illinois so far.
I'm going to guess that your route ran steadily westward from Indianapolis, but mostly north of the interstate or of 74. Is that correct?
Yeah, just north and basically straight line west. So we've come across some good ground. We did get rained on a little bit this morning, but it wasn't anything too bad. It looks like it's kind of cleared up, and we've got a beautiful day and afternoon ahead of us. So hopefully be able to get some more good data points out there.
And did your yields and your pod counts get steadily higher the further west you have come? And then, of course, you say they've evened out, but at a really high level. Is that correct?
That's correct. Especially once we started crossing the state line and working further west, things seem to be getting better and more consistent through our samples this morning, including Indiana's counties. I think we're averaging right around 222 bushels per acre. So pretty darn good. A lot different from what we saw yesterday. Again, yesterday was just, I think, a story of underwhelming findings across much of the state of Indiana. A different story today in Illinois.
I watched Chip Flory last night, actually this morning, for some of the news pieces that they sent to us. And he was asked an interesting question. I'd like to know your take as well. The question was he more impressed in South Dakota with the corn or the soybeans? He wanted to be more impressed with the corn, but the consistency wasn't quite there, and he was sorely impressed with the soybeans. How about your routes so far? What do you think?
Well, we've split it up, so I'm focusing mostly on corn, but having a conversation with the other riders in my car that do focus on the soybeans. As I've mentioned, it's similar to corn. The further west we go, the better things look, and I think a lot of that is just soil composition and just the nature of the beast. Illinois has really, really good ground, especially in this area, and then they've gotten good weather along the way to really keep things going on the right trajectory. So, very, very good. I would say the people that are counting the beans in our car are, very pleased with what they've seen. The numbers continue to get bigger and better, and again, more consistent, which seems to be the underlying theme for today.
Last night, as you were meeting there north of Indianapolis, what was the common theme from most of the other cars that you were talking to and the crop scouts that were running other routes?
Yeah, I think largely through Indiana, it was just underwhelming. I don't think that was isolated to just our route or vehicle. I think a lot of people were, set the expectations really high, and rightfully so. It was the first day of crop tour, and coming off of last week's USDA report, those expectations are set high. So maybe that was part of it, where you just put such a high watermark out there, and you think you're going to see great, perfect corn all day long. That wasn't the case. It wasn't bad corn, but it just fell short of expectations. I mean, with the USDA projecting Indiana at 205, you expected to come across some really good corn. and more consistent corn. But again, variability was seen really throughout our route yesterday, and that seemed to be a theme for other routes as well.
It'll be interesting to see what the numbers tally up like tonight when you're in Bloomington and give that final number for the state of Indiana in that case.
Yeah, absolutely, and I'm looking forward to that. I wouldn't be surprised to see it come in a little bit lower. We saw the Ohio number come in a little bit over what Pro Farmer put out last year, but still, again, Ohio was well below what the USDA put out here recently. So again, I think it's a story of underwhelming performance so far on the further east side of things. But again, as we move west, I kind of expect things to get a little bit better.
Oliver Sloup is with Blue Line Futures, joined us here on the closing.